The third section is all about driving and how driving is actually a commercial term. The definition of the word driving, the previous legal definition of the word driver used to be the word chauffeur, and then they changed chauffeur to driver. And if you look in Title 49, which is the transportation title of the United States Code, Section 390.5T, you'll find the definition of the word driver, and I believe I have it memorized. It's any person who operates any commercial motor vehicle. And you start going down the rabbit hole of what is commercial, and what is a motor vehicle. Commercial means transporting persons, property, or cargo for some sort of fee, rate, charge, or other consideration on the highways. Specifically, it has to be on the highway. It has to be for some sort of fee, rate, charge, or other consideration, and it has to be transporting persons, property, or cargo. You have to have all three of those elements for it to be considered a commercial motor vehicle, right? So a driver is somebody who operates any commercial motor vehicle. A commercial motor vehicle is something that is actively right now, as we speak, transporting persons, property, or cargo for some sort of fee, rate, charge, or other consideration on the highway. So if you are transporting a person or property or cargo for some sort of fee, rate, charge, or other consideration, and you are not on the highway, it still would not be classified as a commercial motor vehicle. It would have to be done on the highway, right? And then you get into, well, what's the definition of a highway and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so what people don't realize is that whole kind of rabbit hole is very fascinating. And then we have the rabbit hole of a certificate of title. The legal definition of the word certificate means, evidence that something is someplace else, or evidence that something occurred, right? But when it comes to a certificate of title, it's evidence that there's a title someplace else. And you start going down this rabbit hole where when you buy a brand new car, there's something called the MCO or MSO, which stands for a manufacturer's certificate or statement of origin, which looks very similar to a title. And what happens is that MCO or MSO has to be sent to the DMV, right? And then what happens is the DMV issues what's called a state or jurisdiction title. That's what they call it on the DMV or the AAMVA website. I forget which website, but if you look it up, state or jurisdiction title, you'll probably pop up on Google. And what happens is basically what you're doing is you're entering into a trust agreement with the state. So for example, if I were to take my motorcycle, which I have the original MCO for my motorcycle, if I wanted to get a certificate of title and register that vehicle, I would need to send the MCO into the DMV, and the DMV would, in exchange, give me a certificate of title. Now, what that means is this certificate of title is an abstract of the actual title, which you sent to us, and basically, you gave it up. You have to give up the actual title in order to get a certificate of title. Now, if you look on, let's say, for example, in California, if you look on the certificate of title, you'll see that your name is listed under a section called registered owner. Now, no one ever thought to go look up the legal definition of the term registered owner. If you look up the legal term registered owner, it means somebody who has a interest in the dividends or profit of some sort of activity. So what's happening is that when you give the MCO and you get a certificate of title, what's happening is you're actually entering into a commercial trust where the state of California becomes the trustee and you become the beneficiary, and you become a person who is now operating a commercial motor vehicle in commerce to transport persons, cargo, or property for some sort of fee, rate, charge, or other consideration on the highways. And you're listed as the registered owner because you have the right to the dividend or profits of that activity. And by doing all of that, you actually give the state your vehicle. You don't own the vehicle anymore, which is why you have to get registration. You're basically paying rent for a government vehicle. It's now a government vehicle. And the police are a private security force that operates on behalf of the business called State of California, driving around, and they're actually policing their own property. And that's why they're able to write you a ticket.
Wow.
So you
Wow.
don't own your car. And when a police officer pulls you over, he's basically operating under a power of attorney on behalf of the person who does own that car, which is the person called State of California. You are driving a government vehicle. Everyone is driving a government vehicle.
Unbeknownst to them.
Unbeknownst to them.
That's crazy.
So when the police officer pulls you over, he uses very, very specific terminology, and he's been trained to use it. You need a driver's license to operate a motor vehicle on the roadways. The word operate has a special legal definition in Title 49. The word motor vehicle has a special legal definition in Title 49. The word driver also has a special legal definition in Title 49. The officer is not aware that there are all these special definitions. And then he'll ask you, are you the registered owner for this motor vehicle? The term registered owner also has a special definition that she's not aware of. And they'll always use this exact same terminology. If you watch all the videos on YouTube and you watch videos of traffic situations, you'll notice they always use these terms: motor vehicle, operate, driver, State of California, and registered owner. You'll hear them. They always use those 5 terms. And what's funny is there's not a single police officer on the streets that understands any of those terms at all.